Welcome back! Episode 2.
Nice to see ya.
We are sisters. We're Cici and Kiki. And we are spiritual growth sheroes. And my dog is here as well. She might be on camera, but her name's Marshmallow. These are not real microphones.
Well, a little bit.
Hers is real.
Oh, yeah.
Because I talk too loud. I don't need an actual to be amplified. But I got these off of Amazon because until we're monetized, I'm not going to get us actual microphones. So these are good until then.
This is what we got.
Yeah. So what is the topic today? What are we talking about?
Okay, so we're talking about, it's January 2025. We're talking about ending a year, starting a new year, and all the typical thing that's out there is all this pressure. And everybody knows it. You know, you've heard all the things, set all your goals. Basically, like everything, all of your problems that you've had the whole past year, you need to fix them in like 4 days.
Yeah, fix them
To start
in
the new
January,
year.
in the
Yeah.
middle of winter. And everything that you did wrong, you need to have it fixed immediately.
Immediately.
And no matter what, you're fat and you need to have a beach body.
So we were talking about this topic of what we were going to do, and Cici said the funniest thing. She's like, you're always too fat in January.
Yeah, it's January 1st. You're fat. You need to get a beach
You're
body.
always too
You need to
fat.
be ready for the beach by the end of January.
Yeah, you need to have a
You
beach
need a
body.
beach body.
You need to fix everything that's ever wrong with you immediately. And all that is like not that fun, not that great. It doesn't work. I mean, by now, it's kind of funny. I've heard people, like I heard some guy in the grocery store and the checkout lady was like, Happy New Year, did you set any resolutions? And he's like, I don't do that.
Yeah.
So I actually feel by this point, like people are not into it, but there's still all this cultural pressure, on social media and all this stuff. I mean, right? Media is super into it because it gives them a lot of content. But it's not great. It doesn't work. It certainly does not feel good. It's not motivating. It's not realistic.
Yeah. I think it's just like feeling, it's just like failing. It just feels like you're failing at the beginning of the year.
You're a failure.
Because you're setting it up for like, there's no way I can fix all the things from last year in a month in the middle of winter when all I want to do is hibernate like a bear. It just isn't realistic.
You're like, it's dark.
I want to take a nap.
You're tired.
But you want me to do
cold.
extra things when I want to do less things. It just doesn't make sense.
So it's just not good. So we talked about it. I like to do this. Cici likes to do this where you take something and if you're kind of rejecting it, you find your own way with it. So I was telling Cici that my way with it, because I wanted to do something. I just didn't want to do all those things. Mm-hmm. And so I had this thing of like, well, maybe I want to journal. And then I feel like I got guidance. I believe we all have angels and guides with us, working with us all the time. And I feel like I got this guidance of like, write down all your successes from last year, right? Write down everything you've achieved, everything you've done. And I just kind of like kept getting that guidance. And that's totally different, right? That's a totally different thing than your failure. Fix everything that's wrong with you in January, like you were saying. So I went to a coffee shop, met a friend for breakfast, and then afterwards I stayed and journaled and wrote all that out. So I wrote out all my successes from the whole year, and then really it's like a lot of things from the year, and sometimes we don't realize that until we write it down or we like take stock, take a minute, and because we're getting all this pressure to look at everything wrong, everything bad, everything, that needs to be some other way. So when I did that, it was surprising and like really cool. Felt really good. And then I wrote out I wrote out what I did want to create this year or goals for this year, my vision. I wrote all that out, and it's been kind of the same thing for some of it has been the same for several years, but I do still have that vision or those dreams. And I wrote it out in a way of like, this is still my desire and my vision, but to kind of like let it go, like to write it and like this is what I'm setting out. Not like writing it like a to-do list or something.
How many successes did you have from last year?
I mean, probably like 10 to 15 or something.
That's really good. That's a lot.
Yeah. And I bet if you wrote out too, it's like you would find that to be true. Because like we do these big things and we're always just like on to the next.
I think for me, I don't know if it would be numerically as much as you did, but I think in terms of like the impact of my life, I did some really major...
Yeah, they'd be like a couple things about big...
Major changes that are going to affect the whole rest of my life.
Yeah.
That I made this last year. Mm-hmm. Especially pertaining to food and to relationships. I think it will affect the next, like, 20 to 30 years of my life. So, I don't...
So, like, that could be, like, one thing, you know, that you did like that, and that's huge.
Yeah, totally.
Right?
So, I feel good about it. And I liked that. I liked looking back and thinking about what I accomplished.
Yeah, what'd you do for your New Year's, like your own way?
I wrote out goals, but I wrote out, it wasn't like resolutions. I wrote very realistic goals. So for me, and these were creative projects that I wanted to do that are very realistic for me to do. And it felt amazing. It was so much just these creative things, like learning to play the guitar, learning to make beats, making 7-song EP, making season 1 of this podcast. All of those are very realistic for me. And so it felt really good because it was like, oh, yeah, I could totally do these things. Mm-hmm. And nothing crazy, you know. Oh, and then... Sober date. I'm gonna sober date, so that's like dating with a dating plan. That was one of my goals, and it's all really realistic. Mm-hmm. It's nothing like make $1 million, get married. You know, it's nothing like that.
Yeah,
it's just like really realistic.
Yeah,
so.
And then that's like empowering, right?
Yeah.
If it's things you want, but there's things you can do, it's things within your control and creative and all of that.
Yes.
That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we are, we support, like, just reject all the things we're told to do that don't work, like with anything. Yeah. So this was New Year's, but like anything else that comes up, like if it doesn't fit for you, find your own way to do it.
Yes. I was saying with a lot of the stuff that is like the norm, I think sometimes feels like unrealistic or, you know, maybe doesn't even align with like your path or like what's important to me or what's on my path. And it just makes me feel bad, but it's not even aligned with like my values or something, you know what I mean? Or like what I'm actually trying to do. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Definitely.
What like word or like feeling do you want to like be the theme of this 2025?
I haven't done a word yet.
You haven't?
No.
I'm trying to think of one right now. I think fun. I think I want to have fun. Mm-hmm. That's probably the biggest thing. I just want to do fun things. I want to make music. I want to make this podcast. I want to have fun with my friends and family, and just do fun things. Mm-hmm.
So tell us in the comments if are you going to pick a word? Is that something you're into, or you like that? Does that help motivate you? And what's your word?
Yes. What's
I
your
just
word?
have to think about mine more. I don't know.
Yeah,
I do that sometimes. I like it. I like it if I can find a word that's like spot on of how I feel.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is now.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
Yeah.
I just figured that might be a cool thing to talk about.
I feel like another thing on my mind, and probably like a lot of people too, is like how to deal with feeling overwhelmed or anxiety kind of thing. So, and I think it's like starting a new year, maybe all this pressure, but also a friend of mine was talking about how December to January also is like the letdown is real. Like it's like holiday special time for like 6 weeks or something. It's so special. And then January is like fix everything and you're messed up and you're a failure. And like, what is it? I mean, there's no celebrations really or anything.
No.
So I feel like that's a time maybe when more anxiety comes in. And my friend Elaine the other day was telling me she meditated in the morning, and you know how we like all go down like these rabbit holes of like, I don't know, just get anxious about stuff in the world or stuff in our life. And she had this mantra come to her. My friend, the mantra that came to her was, I'm okay, we're okay, it's okay. And so that was kind of cool because it's like ourselves, like family or friends or anything you're thinking about, and then just like the state of the world or what's going on. So I'm okay, we're okay, it's okay. And that was just nice. And I told her, I'm like, I'm going to steal that today to help feel grounded. So that was nice.
Yes.
What do you do for if you start to feel?
So what I do to help with feeling anxious.
Yeah, anxious or
Um,
overwhelmed.
Yes. One thing that helps me a lot is talking to someone about it. And sometimes I write it out. Like I write it out and I kind of try to see, you know, look at different aspects of it, like what's my part, or kind of do like a little inventory of it, and then tell someone that inventory of the fear. So this is like a recovery tool, but it's called a 10 step, but basically you say like what the fear is. So for me that would be like, you know, what's my anxiety around, and then I kind of pray around it and then go through like, why do I have this fear? Am I trusting my higher power? What would God have me to see like about this fear, you know, that I have? And typically when I do that, God would have me to be present. God would have me to do the next right thing, or to trust that he's taking care of me, to be of service to someone. So there's like things like that. And that helps a lot with anxiety, because I get anxiety a lot about like finances or relationships, all kinds of things that give me like fear. But that in particular, that tool helps me probably the most.
That's so nice. I like it. You know, it's like, it just feels nice to think of that.
Yeah, it feels really, it does offer a level of peace. I feel like doing because I do a 10 step every day, because I have a partner, like it's called a 10 step train, and you like sign up for it, and this is usually for people that are in recovery, but you every 2 weeks you get a new partner, so every single day I do a 10 step. So sometimes it'll be a resentment, like I'm angry because like yesterday it was like a truck driver behind me had like honked super loud, and I have super sensory sensitivity to noise, and it was unjustified in my mind because he could have just passed me. There was like plenty of space for him to just pass, but he just honked his horn so loud right behind me, and I got so mad. But so stuff like that, like I did a 10 step on it, and it helped me to kind of look at, was it about kind of something else? Because it kind of was like about some other stuff. Like So, yeah, that's been a big thing for me.
Mm-hmm. So I think my version of that is, so I get up every morning and I just like stretch a little and then I pray. And if something is on my mind or it's something I'm stressed out about or worried about, I say to my angels and guides, I say, what would you have me know? So if it's like a certain situation with my partner, with my husband, or with my kids, or work stuff, or anything, I say, what would you have me know? And I feel like I always get this like insight or guidance, and it's something like that where you're like, how would God have me see it? It's something like that where I'm like, where they're like, you're doing so well. You're, just whatever, just something that just makes you feel calm about it. It makes me feel, it's usually comforting. And this is what's interesting, is it is a perspective. Like, what would you have me know? It is a perspective it doesn't feel like how I would see it. Obviously, because I'm in it and I'm spinning about whatever it is. And there's, how can I solve this? And it's so overwhelming and whatever it is. And I get some kind of insight that's like, oh my gosh, that's true. If I just do this little thing, or if I just focus on it this way, or if I center myself in like, I'm doing everything I can, or, whatever it is, I get some guidance and it's really helpful.
Yeah, that's really good. I love that you have like your own version of it.
Yeah. Okay, so the other thing I was going to bring up is today I heard this thing. I went and got my hair done. And my hairdresser.
I'm rocking my natural hair today. So you got your hair done, and then I'm rocking my natural hair, which, by the way, word on the street, people are into it.
Yeah.
Into my natural curls.
Yeah.
So it's exciting. It's an exciting hair day today.
So you know how like you talk to your hairdresser about everything. So I really love talking to my hairdresser because we're similar age and we talk about all this stuff like perimenopause and all these things that we're dealing with. And she told me this really cool book that she's reading, and we'll put it in the description or something because I'm blanking on the lady's name. But this really cool point she made, that my hairdresser made to me about this book, is this woman talks about LHBs, which are like learned hierarchical beliefs. And it's this thing in our mind about what you need to be in our culture to be like a success or pretty or whatever.
Okay.
So she's like, you need to be skinny. You need to be blonde. You need to have like a new car. You need to be a homeowner. You need to whatever. It's just like this. It's the like hierarchical thing of success or whatever in our culture.
That's so true.
Isn't that crazy?
No, it's not crazy. It's totally real.
And I was saying to her, so this author, we'll put it in the description. This author was saying, like, once she realized these things, but did they really make her feel successful? Or were they just really her? Like, what did it feel like her identity? And that they didn't. And so she just, maybe started to live her life outside of these things and do it more, like live her life more in a way that represents her and it felt freeing and good and all this stuff. So I haven't read the book, but I just thought that was really cool. And I was telling my hairdresser, I was like, these are things, they're subconscious, like they're in our head. We carry them around all the time. I feel like you carry a list of these things all the time. And I know I'm blonde and stuff, so I'm not trying to...
Yeah.
But I feel good. I actually live in the Pacific Northwest. And when I first moved here from California, which a lot of Pacific Northwest people don't like that, but this was a long time ago. This was like 13 years ago. There was actually pressure to go dark hair. Because that's like, you know what I'm saying? I'm saying like if you're doing something to fit in. So I'm actually blonde because I feel good that way. Like I feel like my skin looks good that way, my eyes, whatever. So it feels good to me. So it feels real to me. Whereas if somebody is just blonde because they think that's like the cultural norm or that is beauty, that's like the standard of beauty, but it doesn't feel like them, then that's where you're, you're off. Like you're not authenticity, right?
I was blonde for like over 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
And you asked me if I did it for cultural standards.
And
I did. Standards. It was not because, I don't think I looked bad with it, but it was not, I don't think it was like fitting of my personality. I don't think it like looked the best. It was okay, but I think I really like my like dark hair. Like I actually think dark hair looks the prettiest.
Yeah, it looks really good on you.
Yeah, I think it looks pretty.
Yeah, so.
But I didn't when I was younger. I think I fought a lot of things about my identity when I was younger. I think was trying to almost be another kind of person. And as I've gotten older, it's like almost like this big embrace of like what I am, like, yeah, just my natural coloring, my natural hair, like my shape, like just all these different things. Like it's almost like finding value and worthiness just in like my existence as this person.
That's so good.
Yeah,
that's like
it is
nice and empowering, and that's like true beauty.
Yeah. And I used to feel like before I could find a relationship or a partner, I had to do blah, 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 blah.
That's like the learned hierarchical whatever.
Yeah, I had to do blah, 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 blah. And now I'm like, no. I like don't feel that way anymore at all. Like, I just don't feel that way anymore. So.
Okay, so I think what's funny for me is that I am like some of those things, but I don't feel, how do I say this, like some of that standard of beauty or like that, those kind of people, like I don't want to be any kind of like stuff for perfect, like Instagram, like those. I don't like that kind of like perfecty image or something. So for me, I think it's just doing what I want to do that makes me feel my best. So like how I dress or how I do my hair or my makeup or something. But like whatever it is, if it fits in to the thing, if it doesn't fit in to the standard, but just saying like, I'm going to do these things that make me feel good. But it doesn't mean, because if I do these 3 things, but it doesn't mean I have to do these like 17 other things.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes. It does.
But I can do them. Like, okay, for another example I'll give is, I remember, so I've always been really, really spiritual since like I was 15 or 16. But I remember coming into my 20s and there was this kind of like hippie, like we called it twirly girls, like twirly skirts. And I was really spiritual, not so much like conservative or mainstream in terms of my like beliefs or what I enjoy being around and stuff like that. But my style of dress and hair and different things was not like hippie styly. Does that make sense? So, but it kind of at that time, luckily, it was kind of, it evolved that like different people looking different ways could be really spiritual. Right? So it's like you could be, I don't know, just more, not like hippie style, more mainstream or mainstream style or something. And you don't have to be like hippie to like have certain beliefs or to be spiritual. So that's funny because it's more like mainstream, but it's going against something. It's going against something of like, oh, I can't be spiritual unless I dress this way.
Right. Totally.
Right. So that was something I think on my own path where I was like, okay, yes, I have these beliefs, and yes, I feel this way, but I dress and hair and whatever is like that. I'm comfortable like this. So.
Yeah, and that's funny because I feel the same way. Like I'm really into Jesus and like Christianity, but I'm like very progressive and also very open. Like I don't think any other spiritual path is like wrong necessarily, and I also am very like, you know, just more progressive in my views. I think Jesus would have loved everybody and would have embraced everybody, and so I kind of, yeah, and I also am more like, I don't feel like I have to act a certain way just because I like Jesus, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't feel like
that.
because it feels like sometimes people expect you to be like very demure or like just act a specific way if you're a Christian or if you are a follower of Christ. And I feel like for me, I don't really, you know, follow those standards. I don't think anybody would
It's like something
think that I do, you know?
Yeah, it's like things in our culture that somehow has to be like a whole category.
Yes.
Right?
Because
Like
I think our brains feel comfortable categorizing people. It's like, it's very comfortable for us to be like, oh, they're Christian.
Okay.
And then all of these qualities like that we assign to them or something. But it's not really realistic about how like actual humans are.
Yeah. So it's like take something, here's Marshall. Take something and do it your way and like take the thing that works for you. It doesn't mean you have to fit into the whole category, right?
Yes. That's my baby. That's my little baby child. Oh, sweet baby. She said, let me get on camera.
She looked up there.
But yeah.
Okay.
I guess that means we're about done.
I like it.
I like it.
So tell us future topics.
What do you want us to talk about?
Yeah, think about something in your life that you want to do a different way. Like culture says this, or it's, you know, kind of like the New Year's thing, New Year's resolutions. But what's an example of like that? What's an example of that for you?
Yeah. What is a way that you go against the grain or you want to go against the grain, or yeah, it's just something you're thinking about for this year that maybe is a little bit different.
Yeah.
And also let us know things that you want us to discuss, and just know that we're here to be a supportive part of your journey.
We want to be here for you and help you reject what doesn't work for you.
Yeah.
And then embrace or create it your own way. What does work for you?
Embrace
So
your
let's dance it out.
spirit.
Let's dance it out.
Dance it
Just
out.
the two of us.
We can make it if we try. Just the two of us. Three of us. Just the three of us.
Okay.